over and over. Like you think you're doing something crazy.
No, this isn't like the law of transitivity and then like father son. No, this isn't that.
It's gonna be the syllogism.
I don't think it's a syllogism. Like it's not really a syllogism.
Okay, so we don't know if your argument's valid.
Yeah, it would just be. I don't have to present like a formal syllogism. It could just be informal.
Well, as I said, you do have to present a valid syllogism so that we know that your argument is valid before we know that it's like sound.
Okay, but can that be done informally
A
by
debate
you
can
just
be done
simply like?
informally, right? But like when it comes to matters of faith
Okay,
and
then what's
matters
the
of
issue?
philosophy, right? Then it does matter because it should be formalized. Because we don't even
Not,
understand what you're saying. Is it valid or
not
is it
really.
not?
I'm just asking. I'm asking
All right,
questions
so
step
you don't
by
have
step.
syllogisms, right?
Wait, relax, relax.
Right, so you don't have a
Yeah, I'm
syllogism.
asking. Can I speak or?
No,
Yeah,
you can't.
I'm gonna be. Okay, I'm not even like
Hey, be
obviously you
nice.
came in here as if you know as if you know your shit, but I'm speaking to like Abysma.
It's going to be the rule of inference.
But
You
you
just
brought
asked.
up the law, so like we already
Wait,
know
did you
we're
just ask me
talking
for
about.
the inference rule for my syllogism that I don't have?
You don't have, right, so shut the fuck up.
Hey, be
Why
nice. What
you?
the
Why
heck?
is this guy like freaking out?
I'm not
I
freaking
just
Look,
out.
said
I'm
I
pretty
have like
chill.
an informal
look.
syllogism.
We
An
have to be
informal
nice. Okay?
syllogism, bro. Yeah, right.
Like I know like Muslims are low IQ, but we have to be nice. Okay, like it's our duty to be
No, he's
charitable
just
towards.
freaking out. He doesn't want to hear the argument.
Very charitable and nuanced. Schismatic. Watch your reasoning.
Okay,
Theology, both Michael
Okay,
and
anyway,
Augustine.
Abysma, are you there?
I yield to Boethius.
What? What does that even mean?
That means I
What?
yield the floor to Boethius. You can engage him instead.
Can engage him, but he's freaking out before I've even given the
I'm not
argument.
freaking out,
So
bro. I'm just asking you to give an argument.
okay, it's gonna be informal. I don't have to bring a syllogism because that's just too much effort to type it out.
Oh my
So
gosh.
you hold to ADS and you believe the sun is eternally generated, right?
The father, yeah.
From the Father, yeah. Do you hold to Leibniz's law of identity?
I'm a Scotist, so I would say that if you're saying like the argument from person and essence being virtually distinct, I wouldn't hold to that.
You wouldn't hold to that. You believe they're really distinct.
Leibniz's law only applies to like the virtual distinction between person and essence. It doesn't apply to this argument or my position. So like you can hold ADS without holding to Thomism.
Yeah. So it's just like a simple question. Like, do you hold to it? Are you acting as if you know like my argument already? Like, what do you think my argument is?
I want you to make the argument. Go ahead.
No, but you answered the question as if you knew my argument. Like, I want to understand what you think
Yeah,
my
I know you
argument is.
mentioned Leibniz's law, right? It's typically used against like the identity of person and essence, and whether it's like a virtue distinction or formal. So how about you, present the argument? Go ahead.
Okay, so essentially the argument, I mean, I'm assuming you hold to the law. However, if you apply to the Trinity, it would just be like the Son, being eternally generated is identical to the divine essence. However, the divine essence is not like begotten, obviously. So
Right. So the argument is that if there's a virtual distinction between the person and the essence, then basically you collapse the hypostatic relations into the essence, and it's something that they all share. So the argument kind of goes like this: Why do all the persons share the same knowledge, will, and attributes, and omniproperties? Because it's predicated of the essence. Okay. Why don't all the persons share the same relation? Because it's not, forgive me. They'll say because it's predicated of the essence. How is that not also shared? I know the argument, but like
okay,
if you hold to a scotistic formal distinction between the person and the essence, there is a distinction within the res or the single divine reality of the person and essence that is like within reality, right? So there's a way in which they're identical and a way in which they're distinct from each other. It's going to be
a
there's
way in which they're identical and a way in which is that not just relative identity?
No, so we're saying that they are formally distinct but materially identical, person and essence.
Okay, what's like the substantiation for that in terms of like Leibniz's law? I don't really see how that's like applicable to, or it aligns with Leibniz's law.
Like as I said, this is not the Thomist position because your argument hinges upon the Thomist position, which is that person and essence are completely and totally identical to each other apart from our conception. A Roman
Is there no
Catholic
way?
can also hold to the Scotus position, right, which is what I hold to. The Scotus position is that the person and essence are not just distinct only within your mind, but also distinct within a reality, albeit inseparable.
Okay, so they're really distinct. The
Nope,
persons and
it's not the same thing.
okay, what
A
kind of
distinction within reality is not a major real distinction. So, a major real distinction is a distinction in terms of res or in terms of the thing. They're not different things in the proper sense or the philosophical understanding of a thing, right? So that we would just say that like person and essence are the same res or the same divine reality, i.e., God, right? But they're distinct aspects within that res or within God, right? And they're distinct aspects that are not just distinct within our minds, although apprehended by our minds, we understand them to be in reality apart from our minds prior to our intellect. So the relations are not identical to the essence, only materially.
can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, so the formal material distinction, can you quickly just go through that again?
All right. So a formality would just be a ratio within a thing, which is an aspect or a definition of a term that is applicable to before your mind existing. So like a formal distinction is a distinction that is prior to your intellect, albeit apprehended by your intellect that is in reality. So it is within a thing. So it's a distinction within reality within a thing, right? And
What do you mean before your intellect?
so before you conceive of the distinction is in reality apart from your mind. So it exists as a distinction before your mind conceives of it, um, but your mind apprehends this reality, right? So a formal distinction, when something is formally distinct from each other, they're distinct in ratio. So we recognize they're of different definition. And then we recognize that this distinction was prior to our mind intellectualizing it. So it's a distinction within a thing. It's difference between an aspect within a thing, or ratio.
Could you give like an example outside of the Trinity?
Um, yeah, sure. I can give an example of a distinction, albeit in reality, although inseparable, like a circle, its circumference and radius. The circumference and radius are distinct, right, from each other, albeit inseparable.
Okay, and the other one, the material distinction.
So this is not so when something is materially distinct, it's not the same res. So it's not the same thing, right? But we believe that they are materially identical. So the person and the essence are identical in the sense that they are both equally God. So they're identical in the sense that um, they are of the same material identity, which is they are not different res. There's no division of res.
Okay, and an example outside of the Trinity.
Um, yeah, so a circumference and its radius are the same res. They refer to the same reality of a circle. Like, person in essence is not a different reality, but although it's a distinction within a reality. So there's, okay, a major real distinction is a distinction between realities, right? And then a formal distinction is a distinction within a reality, right? So a major real distinction would be materially distinct, formally distinct, and even separable, right? That's a major real. A formal distinction would just be like only distinct within the formalities of a thing or the aspects of a thing, not between two realities or two different things.
Okay.
This is the exact
Alright.
argument that the Scotists used against the Thomists. The same argument you're giving.
Okay, so you're saying my argument would work against a Thomist?
Yep. I can tell you the
Okay.
Thomists would probably try and get out of it though.
I've spoken to a couple of them and
Thomism is superior, and the angelic doctor is
It
superior.
is obviously not, because I had to use Scotism to get out of Ahmed's argument.
Well, you can get out of Ahmed's argument with Thomism as well, I'm pretty sure, but whatever.
No, that's really
Yeah,
hard
you
to
can,
do.
and I don't have to accept the law anyway, so it's like, okay. I don't have to
See,
accept the law
Princess gets mad
universally.
because whenever I present another scholastic that's opposed to her favorite scholastic, she gets pissed.
I don't have to accept the law universally, like that's like
Anyways, Ahmed, I would say this though. A Thomist would say like the persons are only distinct from the essence, sa odd, but not san. So that's like one response they'll give, is that although the issue is that the relations are still like materially, forgive me, the relations are still actually identical to the essence in a formal way,
mm.
right? So I don't know if they could get out of it. They try to though.
Okay, well I appreciate the response.
No problem, bro. See, that's how you scare them out of here. Just argue Scotism and they all leave.
Wow, that
no,
was
he
pretty
just
good,
got bored of your
Boethius.
ass. He just got bored of your ass. Be so fucking for real right now.
Nah, bro, he got bullied, not bored. Bullied, there's a difference.
Oh, I got bored. And also, you were so uncharitable. Like, you're my Christian
What?
brethren at the end of
No,
the day.
he was
Like,
perfectly charitable, Princess. He just
not at
literally
the
did that guy's
beginning. Not
homework
at the
for him.
beginning. Not at
Princess,
the beginning.
he just did that guy's work for him without even
Well,
having to hear his like argument, dude. That's fucking based.
yeah, but you need to argue
Stop.
with
No, there's nothing to
humble.
critique. Just accept it.
Okay, Princess, I understand that at the beginning I was insulting him, but it was because it was such a stupid argument. That's already been dealt with 100 times.
No, I understand that and I know that, but we ought to still be nice.
Okay,
Nice.
I'll be like Michael.
Tolerance is
I
not a Christian virtue.
I
Start
will
with that.
be like Michael Laufton and be charitable and nuanced. All right. I'm
No,
sorry,
Michael Lofton is
Princess.
an idiot, dude.
I agree.
He's a beta
But
male cuck, dude.
for the sake of Princess and not pissing her off while debating people, I will not insult the Muzzies.
Well,
Only if.
you can insult Muhammad, just not be like you have to represent Christ.
Well, I
So,
Oh,
mean,
that's
do you believe in
crazy.
this like buddy
as I said,
Jesus?
you argue Scotism and they just all leave because they can't argue against it. LPT doesn't work for us. Sorry.
Princess, was Jesus violent?
I would say that he rebuked people when it was needed.
No,
I'm
but
not
what?
telling you not to.
That's not what I'm asking though. Was he violent?
No,
How do you explain Jesus in the temple with the money changers?
look, Jesus has just because I have lied once or twice, or just because I have had
Hold on.
I
You're
got mad
detracting,
once or
Princess.
twice.
Was Jesus
No,
violent?
I'm not. Well, I would like for you to let me answer the question without cutting
Princess,
me.
was
Thank
Jesus
you.
violent?
No, I don't think he was violent.
He was. How do you
I don't
explain
think he,
how do you explain Jesus in the temple with the money changers?
because one act does not represent you as a whole. Like it doesn't make
Wait, wait,
him.
wait, 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 wait. So you're saying that there are certain things that Jesus does that you don't accept?
I did not say that. That's a fallacy.
Well, I mean, you're
How?
saying that
What
just
fallacy
because
is
Jesus.
that?
Uh, the name
It's
is
informal fallacy of princess.
No, that's not a fallacy. That'd probably just be a straw man.
no.
That would
Yeah,
just be
that's
a
a
straw man.
fallacy. Strawman is a fallacy.
Well, it's not a formal one.
I never
It's
said it's a
informal.
formal whatever. Anyway,
But go on.
at
Go
the end of
on.
the
Go
day,
on.
you did not like you're just being uncharitable towards me right now. Like just because, like for example, Jesus flipped the table once, or Jesus has called people
He
dogs
didn't
once.
flip the
That does-
table. He whipped people.
Okay, that doesn't mean he's violent as a whole. Like just because, for example, I get angered once, that doesn't make me an angry person
No,
as a
but
whole.
here's
Like
the thing. If Jesus, but here's the problem, princess. If the question would be, was Jesus justified in whipping the money changers?
Yep, holy anger,
yeah,
right?
And
But
and
I
but
will tell you,
if he
I
was
will say
you
this.
justified, then he is angry.
no, but you know that okay. I'm not always like this, you know. I read Saint John Chrysostom, you know. I'm also harsh when it comes. You can ask Delphic. You can ask Delphic. I'm super harsh with people when it's needed. But this guy just came in. You were not justified into insulting him, even though he just like showed ignorance. All he did was show ignorance. He didn't insult you. He didn't do anything. I don't think it was justified.
Jesus seemed to think
Yeah,
Okay,
it was
look,
Alan.
at
justified.
Bismo, I think you're like Bismo. Would you agree that you're maybe equivocating on like the term violence, since
Oh my
violence would
God.
No,
contain
I'm
something
not.
like
No, I'm not. No,
unjustified
I'm not.
retribution?
Because I'm actually gonna double
Yeah.
down
So
on it.
like, let me ask you a
So
question.
Delphic, hold
How
So
on.
about
like, if
okay?
somebody's
Instead of
like,
violent, say harsh. Just say harsh. Not
So
violent. Say
Like
Delphic,
harsh.
when you actually
like
look at
Jesus
the
is violent is
scriptures,
crazy.
when
The
you
fact that he
actually
thinks
look at
Jesus was violent is
no, I
crazy.
just think you're equivocating. I think you're equivocating because I'm just gonna say
between what two
contain
terms am I
unjustified
equivocating? What two terms am I equivocating between?
um, yeah, like holy retribution, violence is equivocating.
No, I never mentioned holy retribution at all. She said that her argument was that
I mean, any act
just because Jesus does
justified.
a violent thing once doesn't mean that he's angry. And I
Sure.
said, no, that's the wrong framing. If Jesus was violent, right, at any point in time, the real question would be the right question would be to ask, was that anger justified, or was that violence, excuse me, justified? If it
No, but
was
you
justified,
didn't say that. You said
I
I
did
just
say that.
I
It
just
makes him an angry
I
person.
just wouldn't use violence that way. I think it's an equivocation.
I don't think it's equivocating at all. And I'm about to show you. If you look at the side chat, I'm gonna double down on this, Delphic. It wasn't only violent, right? He wasn't. First of all, like he's not just being reactionary. It was premeditated violence. So he
yeah, but you
fully
called
intended. Hold on. He fully intended to whip the money changers in the way that he did, and therefore he thought for himself that it was justified. If you look
but
at
you called
John,
Jesus.
hold on. If you look at John
I mean,
2,
him being
15, 17, Jesus literally fashions a whip out of cords, which requires premeditated
Listen, bro.
deliberation.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I get your argument, Abismo, and I get your argument, Princess. This conversation started because I joined and insulted him, and then dogged on him. Was in like okay. At first, I was insulting because his argument was just bullshit. But then I actually followed through with that and demonstrated how his argument was false,
Oh
respectfully,
no,
charitably, in
I'll be
nuance.
back.
Right? Oh, okay.